Hey, what's going on, everybody? Day number 43. Day number 43 is this duplex that we are building out here in Willis. We're doing ground up construction, and I am walking you through all the steps that you need to know to build your own duplex. Okay, so here we are, day 43 again. Let me recycle through quite a few pictures. I'm going to be focusing specifically on insulation today because today that was one of the big things that we had done. We have to coordinate this stuff. So we knew that the framing inspection was going to be yesterday. We had a very high certainty that we were going to be able to pass it. So that's Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. So I had been talking to the guy for a while now saying, hey, Tuesday is the framing inspection. You should be clear to start on Wednesday. If anything, we could have shifted him over a little bit, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Now we're going to be talking insulation and the firewall. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the requirements, whenever you do insulation, is to ensure that there is no air gaps coming in and out of the house. So there's always going to be some air that comes in and out of the house. But when you have large holes like this, they have to be addressed. So as you can see right here in this picture, this is these plumbing pipes are basically for the either the water heater or the air conditioning unit. One of the two. I can't remember right now, but it's really not important specifically which kind they're for. But the thing is that these need to be foamed in right here. We need to have some foam put in on both of these sides there. There's a couple of other spots that we found that needed to get foam. So you see how you can see daylight right through that little area right here. So we have to cover that in. We have to put foam in there to kind of ensure, and then around the edges here as well, to ensure that no air, no animals can creep into this project. And then all in this area. Again, we got a couple of other spots. This is going to be a drain. This is for wastewater. Again, this is going to be in one of the bathrooms. I can't recall, but the point is that this, you see sunlight coming through. This needs to be foamed in because the insulation alone is not going to be enough. So we want to make sure that we tell the insulation guys, hey man, if I can see daylight, if I can see sunlight coming through, I want to make sure that those things get done. So now the insulation guys spent all day there and they're finishing up. They called me up. They're like, hey man, can you come take a look? All we're looking for essentially is making sure that they've done everything, in an orderly fashion. So, we don't want to have a whole big mess, but at the same time, you're looking for small things, small imperfections. So let me show you what I'm looking for. Uh, and these guys have passed inspections before, so they know the game. They know how it's played. So, we're taking a look at the insulation here on the walls. These are all exterior walls. We're making sure that we don't have any like major gaps, right? So usually here in the middle, at the bottom, sometimes there's gaps that you can see, sometimes at the top. So it looks like they've covered everything up pretty good. So that's exactly what we want to see. Now, these areas here, I'm pointing these out because this area here, if you can see the ductwork right there, we have the coils and the furnace actually right above this. So it's sitting like right here. And so because that heavy machine has to sit on a platform of plywood, there's a piece of plywood right there. We're not going to be able to get blown in insulation in on that. There's no way that we can do it. So in the attic, as you can see here, we normally do blown-in insulation because it's a little bit inexpensive or less expensive than this kind of insulation. So imagine there's a piece of sheetrock already here, right? And they throw in that foam stuff that it looks like styrofoam, basically like little cotton balls or whatever you want to call it. They put that stuff in there, and that's less expensive than this stuff that already comes in rolls. But in certain areas where you won't be able to throw in the blown-in insulation because it won't be able to get to it, they put this in underneath before they put the sheetrock in. Sometimes they use these things here to kind of hold it up, and also like showing and advertising specifically to the inspector, like, hey, this is the kind of material that we used. Here's the bag and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. One of the things at the firewall is you can see here, all this area up here is also covered up with insulation. You see that? Again, this is a 2x6 wall that we're using for the firewall. All right, guys, we got a big helper here today. He wants to say hi to everybody. Say hi.
Hi.
All right.
How is there a piece of wood?
That's right. We have that's the framing. So let's move on, guys. Let's move on to the next picture here. As you can see here, I wanted to take a picture of this for you guys so you could see the insulation going all the way into the attic. Okay, this is going to provide a sound barrier, all this stuff here, is going to provide a sound barrier and is going to be part of the firewall for the center portion. This is the center portion, the 2x6 wall.
Hey Dad,
Yep,
there's a window like this,
that's right.
grandma, that's green. And this one has a building like this camera.
Yeah,
And then this side, let's go to the black thing.
yeah.
The
Okay, so
hole.
here I'm going to show you guys. This is the master bathroom. Okay, so let me back up. So right now I'm standing in the master bedroom, and this is the master bathroom. You want to go? So we're looking at the master bathroom. You can see the tub is right there. Here is the tub, and then here's the where the toilet's going to go, and then here's where the vanity is. And so this tub, in order to vent so that the wastewater goes down, it has this vent here. And so let me show you something real quick that is required for the inspection. So I'm just getting closer. So this is like further away, and I'm getting closer here, and then I'm getting a little bit closer here. So one of the requirements for the inspector and for him to pass it is to ensure that there are no holes from basically the first floor into the attic. And so what they do is they foam these little holes everywhere there's a little hole, because what's going to happen is if there is an actual fire at some point, if there's any hole there, it's going to start. It can be more easily contained if there's no access to more oxygen, right? So fire needs oxygen to continue to grow, and if there's holes there, then it's easy for the oxygen to get pulled in through those little holes, and that's why it's called a draft, right? It pulls in oxygen so that it can keep burning. And so one of the reasons the inspectors do this, they require us to do this, is so that there's no gaps, there's no holes, and there's nothing in between the attic space and the first place in case there is an actual fire. So they have to do this for all the places where the plumbers, the electrician, they kind of notched into the wood. So the other thing here I wanted to show you is that we got a little gap here in the firewall. So this is not a real big deal, but you see that little gap right there? I can see it. And so I know that the inspector is going to be able to see it. So as you get closer, you can see it even more, right? And it's really maybe just 1 inch wide. So I told the guy, I'm like, hey man, we got to get that covered up. We got to get some more insulation in there. This is a firewall. The inspector's probably going to come tomorrow and say, hey man, we got to get this done. Not the end of the world, right? We'll get this fixed. But it's just little small details like this that, will make the difference. So that is everything that we have for insulation for today, guys. That is all we did today. We are going to be standing the insulation inspection tomorrow. We have the sheetrock also going to be delivered tomorrow, Thursday. And so once we have that delivered, we're going to have to get someone to bring the sheetrock inside of the units themselves. And then we're going to go ahead and be able to start once we pass the insulation inspection. If we don't pass the insulation inspection tomorrow, typically what happens is these guys leave us like a roll or so, whatever. And, either I will do it or you will do it or somebody else will do it and just kind of patch up the little area. Because it's not like a licensed, skilled labor thing. They just want to make sure that there's no gaping holes where you could potentially compromise the walls or, potential fire hazard, or that the property's, properly insulated. And that's really all it is. So that's all I got for you guys today. Tomorrow, I'll let you know what the results are of this particular inspection. And then we're going to be starting the sheetrock. The sheetrock phase is a little bit of a longer phase. It's going to take approximately 2 weeks to hang all the sheetrock, to do the tape, the float, the texture, all that stuff to get us up to the point where we start putting in the cabinet. So this place is going to get looking good pretty soon. It's going to start feeling like a house again, or not again, but it's going to start feeling like an actual house. And once we get closer to the end, we'll take some more updated pictures and put it on the MLS. The one offer that we did get was a little too low. It was a cash offer from someone that was offering off of a 1031 exchange. And, we kind of countered back and forth and everything like that. We kind of just stopped hearing from them. But, hey, we know that we're in the marketplace, and we would be shooting ourselves in the foot since we know we have other projects coming, like the one that's going to be going here on the left side of this project. And so we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot by getting a property on the market to sell below what we needed to appraise for, because not every single person is going to have cash to buy these properties, right? So we're going to have to go through the appraisal process, and we want to make sure we want to hit our numbers. So we just have to be patient with the marketplace. All right, guys, that's all we got for you today. Talk to you soon.